Good morning, everybody. How we doing?
Hey, good morning, Mate.
Thanks,
Morning.
man.
Hello, hello.
Oh,
All right. How about we kick it off, Jiminy? Good morning, everybody.
Morning, good morning. Yes, let's get started. Quite a bit of movement after Nvidia earnings. So pretty interesting setup today. We do have some pretty clear areas from gamma positioning, and first of all, we did trade as high as 77.25 on SPX overnight after Nvidia earnings. Now, most of that has faded. We were unable to hold above 7,700 and 7,715 in the overnight. So those are the two most important pivots for the upside this morning. And the open will be very important. If we're able to open above 7705 or so, it'll be a supportive environment with a magnet above us at 7740, which favors a trend to the upside. And right now, we're trading right below that at 7701. So what happens between now and the open will be very important. And then whether or not we open and hold above that supportive zone will kind of determine the early part of the session. So we'll see where we're at a little closer to the open. If we open below 7,700, it increases the chances of a choppy fade back into yesterday's range. And zooming out from a technical perspective, we're trying to break the balance that we've been in. And if we break the balance and we can't hold it, it favors reversion back into the value from yesterday, which lines up right there at 76.75. So, if we're unable to hold 7,700 early in the session, likely favors reversion. And I do like 76.75 for a long if we get down there. So I would watch that for a bounce. And early in the session, and as well all pre-market, 77.15 has been a tough resistance. So clearing 77.15 is where the upside really opens up. So those are the main areas to be watching as far as gamma perspective. I am holding a runner. It'll stop out underneath the overnight low, and then I would watch for 76.75 personally.
Awesome. Thank you. Mate.
I don't have Mate. Does anyone else have him?
I can hear Mateo. Yes, J Money.
Okay.
No, even I can't hear Mate.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like the chat cannot hear him.
Give him. I could hear Mateo and J Money, but seems like we're having some technical issues here.
Hello.
Um, yeah, what's up?
See if Jack in here.
Yeah, that should be better.
I fixed that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. 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 Okay. So basically, what I was saying is we have a stacked lineup of catalysts to trade and look at this morning. Okta is where I'm going to just simplify everything for the open specifically. We had a double beat and raise. Implied move was about double. What the move that we're getting is about double what was implied, I should say. So, A grade variables here. I wouldn't put it in like a top op category, but I would get an A quality setup here. So, the context in the bigger picture, zooming out to the weekly. This is one of those names that had that big COVID run and kind of bust in 2022, and since then has been consolidating in a base for a while. And then it wasn't until this year that this name and a lot of others related to it in the sector have started to kind of turn the corner. And we have a pretty big level around this 160 two area. So 157 to 162, pretty defined. And then the pre-market high is 163. So, sometimes with these types of stocks, you'll get a strong move on a gap. And because they have been weaker, you'll get bag holders kind of taking some off or taking profits. The thing I like here is I think that risk is a little lower, although it's still on top of mind because we've already kind of turned the corner this year and have seen a big a big 2 day move earlier in June that has since taken out those highs and just kind of has been basing for a bit. So I like it. I like it technically. I think it's doing a good job. As far as the pre-market structure goes, and unfortunately, as I'm speaking, this is kind of what I was expecting at the open, and we're 19 minutes before the open here, and it's starting to make this move. So this does change things live here in real time for me a little bit. But the main thing that I like with this structure is how high and tight it is. So when you have a move that's double the implied move, that doesn't give back much of the gains and holds the upper part of that move. It's a really good sign of strength. Right? It just means that price is accepting that move. Um, and often can lead to some really good opening drives. So we have good structure for an opening drive that's starting to try and play out right now. So we're just going to have to see in the next 15 minutes. I'll update as we go how to trade this. Could see maybe a back test of pre-market highs or maybe a quick dip at the open that sweeps 157 or something. But for now, this is my main focus, but I have to wait, 10, 15 minutes here before I can really say how I'm gonna trade it at the open. If it's just ripping, I'm likely gonna sit on hands and give it at least 2 to 5 minutes before I make a decision. So this was the move I was looking for at the open, but just now starting to play out. So yeah, that's what I got. I think there's a lot of catalysts and names we'll run through here, and I'll chime in as needed. But the reason I picked Okta is because the pre-market structure was less choppy. There's a lot of choppy looking pre-market structures out there this morning. So
All right. So with it making this move already, would you look for a quick check back and go? Maybe hold of PM high or like what are you looking
yeah,
for?
yeah. Check back on PM high or 161.59. That's the spot. What you would want to see if you're going to be aggressive off the open is, and this is something you look forward to, is a very fast reaction to it. I don't want to see it hang around. Sometimes you'll get these just really quick kind of wicks that back
Yeah.
test down and then go immediately. You want to see it go immediately and not look back. If it looks back and start to sell back toward 157. In my opinion, it's better just to get out of the way and revisit it. But yeah, if we can get a little distance from the pre-market highs and then check back very fast in turn, that would be a good signal for entry.
Very good. Yeah, I like that. All right. Let's get into the rest of the watch list here, and there are a few names to talk about. Uh, I'm just gonna save NVIDIA for later, so I can keep everybody engaged. That's what I'm gonna do. Uh, we're gonna start with the most boring one, which I think is Google. We're gonna start with Google, which is a put play. I actually like this for a downside candidate because of that very defined area, 340. So showing some relative weakness, and I'm just looking for that break of that 340, and then 338.50 might see some support. If that breaks, I think we can see that 334. 334, if I remember correctly, is that $4 trillion mark on the chart. It's also where the 200-day moving average is. So that's pretty good to support if we get there. If it tests 338.50 and bounces back above 340, that could be a failed breakdown of sorts for an upside move. So a couple plays there, but that's my downside candidate for now. If the market starts pulling back. Let's get into some software here. Crowd. Yeah, so Crowd is looking pretty good. I would watch and see what it does here. I think I do like how it's pulled back. It's sitting a nice bull flag. I like the little double bottom around that 204, 205 zone, and it's trying to get back up towards that 207.50, 208, which we've tested a couple times in pre-market. So what I'm looking for with this one, I think, is an open drive. Best if it just pops and breaks 210, and we could move towards that 214. 214 is a bigger level that, if broken, I think we could see an even bigger squeeze. So I do like how it's consolidating. You might want to be a little patient with this one, but if it goes and breaks that 208, 210 could accelerate that move. And feel free to jump in, Mate, if you have anything to say about any of these. I'm just giving you my kind of take, but sometimes
Yeah, I
we
can
see
kind of
different.
just mention the pre-market structure is set up for an opening drive. It's seemingly like a little like thin looking, which is odd.
Mhm,
But the
mhm.
structure is great, and the RVOL is, I'm sorry, the RSI does have a really nice reset to it. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, looks good.
Okay. All right. Next is CRM. I haven't really traded CRM ever since the CEO came out, said something about software being the next AI play, and had a good run for a couple of days and kind of died, but had a good quarter, and it's sitting really nicely. And once again, in what looks like a bit of a consolidation pattern here. Um, for CRM, there are a few plays, I guess. We could play that 2:36 p.m. high, but if you want to watch for a dip buy, I would watch that 220, 219 zone. Uh, that'll be a good one to watch. There's a pivot on the daily around that 222. There's another pivot around 219. So that area, if it can pull back, see some profit taking maybe into that, and you might get that turn off of that. So it's just
Mm.
one kind of play to look for. What I do not want this to do is test yesterday's highs. If it starts, pushing all the way back down towards not yesterday's highs, sorry, the daily kind of recent high around that 213, 212. If it starts pulling back into that, I'd be a little bit more cautious, especially if it doesn't hold. But so CRM, 236, or pull back into that 220 zone. mRNA, I'm gonna give you this one.
Yeah, so mRNA had some offering news. This is something we've been talking about, that it hasn't gotten, which has been a reason to stay bullish on the stock. Every day that passes, if there's no dilution, is positive. We did get some dilution, however, it's from my view, pretty soft. Yeah, we're only gapping down 4%. These are through their warrants through 2032, and so this is not a very large raise. Of what, $2 billion. So the tell will be kind of how it gets filled, and there will be some more follow up headlines that we'll want to watch out for. But the initial read and the initial reaction is actually not that negative. We'll see how the stock, and the stock is saying that by only moving, down just below yesterday's lows here, and kind of holding within this balance that it's been stuck in. So we'll see what the stock does at the open and how it acts on the session. But the first reaction is kind of in line with that thinking. But it does give sellers some ammo. So, if you get a sell down to 130, the 90 MA on the daily is at 126. So, on a name that's moved this much, it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that we could digest, down into that first. So yeah, the way I'm thinking of it, tactically, is very simple. I'm not really too interested in a trade to the downside unless it's below 130. And the upside, just wait for 159. It's that simple to me. I think if it gets over 159, that starts that potential squeeze. And today would be very interesting for that to me. You could maybe find an earlier entry above 150 if we get sellers offsides, just because you have a negative catalyst. If you see it actually pop and start to run, that could be fuel, right? Because if that can't, slow it down or take it down, then what can is the mentality. So just don't. I would just encourage everyone to just keep an eye on this one because you don't want to lose sight of the squeeze potential. It's not every day or month or year that a stock says that they cured cancer. So you don't want to underestimate. I know it already moved 100%, but you don't want to underestimate it waking up at any moment. So, yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on mRNA.
Thank you. Next is SpaceX. SpaceX 140, very defined. We've watched it get sold into every single time it gets to 140. I'll be watching this very closely here in the open. It might be that we could get some sort of move today towards that 150, above 150 breakout zone. It's pretty, the chart is very familiar to us. I think we've talked about this every day over the last week or so. The one thing I would say that maybe people have not seen on the chart is that if you look at the 150 level, which is the day low from that first day of trading, IPO day low. Once we broke it, we created this cup as we turned to the upside, and then now we're in a handle. And so there's a nice cup and handle below the IPO low. If just kind of from a technical analysis, I guess perspective, that is something to take note of, which could be an explosive I guess, move to the upside if it breaks. So I think locally we're kind of sitting in this channel that is the handle of that bigger cup. It just shows that buyers are stepping in, and sellers are not. So we're just consolidating within this larger pattern that could be explosive. 150 is one of those levels that I think is a grade A setup. If you can catch it on
Mhm.
the right day, I think you can see 20 points to the upside. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm watching 140, 150. So that's SpaceX. Let's take a look. Nvidia next. So in general, I think it's worth watching semiconductors and software as a whole today. Tech QQQ is also a good way to, I guess, simplify this thing. Now, Nvidia is always tricky. Right? It's a big name. There's a lot of hands in it, and so the way I'm looking at this, that I'm swinging 220 calls, which I never or very rarely do. It was a little bit of a feeling that I had that this could surprise to the upside, so we did. So my plan on this one is to try to get out of those 220s, leave some runners as soon as we open up, and then watch for us to potentially move towards that 228, 230. If that breaks, I think all-time highs could be near in the next few days. So, I would say 228, 230 breaks. We'll see 233 and then all-time highs above that. Now, the risk with NVIDIA is that it will give you this kind of move and then it will sell and it will turn red and it will bring down the market with it. That's why I have Google as a downside candidate to watch, just in case. So, there's nothing really negative I can see with the second quarter that they put forth yesterday. I think the numbers are very, very good, and it shows some real good guidance over the next couple years. I think they were talking about 2028 as well, right? So I think fundamentally it's fine. It's just like when it comes to these kind of names, it's a bit bigger than that. And so we just have to wait and see what happens. Now I am positioned, so as I said, I'm gonna try to take most off and then use that as I guess use part of those gains. If it opens up above 220, I get some gains here. We'll see towards a different call, right? Maybe yeah, some sort of roll up targeting PM high. So that's my plan on NVIDIA. I think structurally it looks pretty okay. I think PM structure here holding around that 221. I would say that 220, 221 area is very important. Start breaking lower, I'd be a little bit more hesitant to catch that turn. So, a quick dip maybe and then turn is okay. I prefer this just ripping off the open, break PM high and go. I think that would be the most bullish outcome shortly after the open. Matei, do you have any plan for NVIDIA at all? I know you said your focus is Okta, but just curious.
Yeah, not immediately at the open, but I do like it. I think you did a good job covering it. I think aside from this recent dip into earnings, I think maybe that's like a little PTSD with what Nvidia just always had been doing. But it's at least woken up a little bit, right, over the last month or two. Which we've just seen the stock do pretty much nothing for a long time. So I don't know. I think that it's kind of one of those names that can wake up. Maybe this time is different at any moment, so it's good to be ready for it. But at the open, I'm just gonna stay focused on Okta, and I agree with everything you said technically as far as 221 and all that. So I mean, this check back to 221.60 is super defined. So
Yeah.
if you sweep or turn that, or just go
Mm.
straight up at the open, it's valid for open A drive.
Yeah, definitely. If you get that sweep, you can have like a 2 point stop maybe. You can
Mhm.
have a fairly aggressive stop because you'll quickly know if you're on the right side of things or not. But I do like the way it's behaving here pre-market, but it's still pre-market, so we'll just have to wait and
Mhm.
see. But sometimes once you get like 5, 4 minutes before the open, it starts showing you a little bit the intentions that it might have. And so far, I feel like it's holding up okay, which is good. But all that matters is what happens after the open, anyways. So that's
Right.
NVIDIA. That is the watch list. Sarang, sorry, we kind of went on a little long. You have less than 4 minutes. Do you think you can cover yours in that time?
Yeah, I think I don't have much to add. I think you guys covered very well. So I had the same watch list, NVIDIA, CRM, Crowd, and Okta, the
Okay.
same thing. The only thing I think I would like to add is so Jackson Hole is starting from today. And today is not a major things to be announced, but tomorrow I think the Kevin Walsh will deliver his first keynote after he's becoming a teacher. So
Mm,
I think today and tomorrow we're likely to have some headline rest. So maybe sizing down and you know we have to be bit careful on the sizing just for today and tomorrow. So that's what I
mm,
would like to add. So
mm.
let's see. Not much. I think we can cover the member sticker. I have the same plan like you guys have
Okay.
for the tickers.
Thank you, Sarang. Yeah, thanks for that. I know we're running a little late. Crowd is already breaking that 208, which we talked about could lead to 210. We're tagging 210 here. So that one is looking pretty strong. Actually, 212 here. So big pop in crowd just before the open. Unfortunately, I thought it
Yeah,
was a really good play
up to
tomorrow,
two.
but
Freaking
yeah.
A.
Okay, Okta, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's so annoying.
yeah, yeah, so
Yeah.
nice. But I mean, I think Okta now even more valid the PM high back test, like with that. If you
Mhm.
let's check back.
Yeah. I wonder if do we have any headline software? We've started to see this behavior a lot recently. I know we've called it out many times.
Yeah,
Just like
Mu-
pop right before they open.
yeah. Musk, Altman, and Huang headline G20 tech talks. That's a headline I can see. One kind of an outsider here is Microsoft. It usually moves with software, but it did not today, which is a little
Mm.
surprising to me when I looked at it. It's still red. It usually does really well. So, just one thing to see. kind of watch there would be to, is it kind of foreshadowing what could potentially happen in software that they start pulling back, or will it catch up to the other ones that might run? So let's cover this HPQ. I've seen a few kind of talk about it. One last one here. HPQ. People talking about it being offside play, meaning red to green move. We'll watch. 10% for me negative is a little bit outside of the parameters that I look for, but I usually like them sitting at -3, maybe -2. But we've seen names like Spot, for example, go -10 to +10. So it just might take a little longer. That 28 is fairly defined, could be a front side short or a potential run towards that 30 above. Okay, I'm gonna focus now. I'm just gonna get my board all set here. SpaceX pulling back just below 140. I really like SpaceX today. It could surprise. Just kind of a feeling that I have. Um, okay.